All in favor of approving financial manager's report? Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed?
Not unless I can ask questions, nay.
Okay. Item F, 2019 to 2020 budget.
Mr. President, this is the proposed budget for 2019 to 20. It's been the board practice to follow the check register finances each month. They create each month's total. And at the end of the year, the board, it's been your practice to use the actuals to base the next year's budget on. And that's what you have before you tonight. I've had requests for information from all of you. I had Director Floor this afternoon. I asked for 3 approved budgets from the past years, and each one of you have contacted me and had your questions answered. So to my knowledge, you are informed. And with that, I'll turn it back over to you.
Okay. Any comments?
Yes, I would like to, this needs to be postponed. The public needs to have input. This is typically done in a workshop setting. There's been no workshop. In fact, the public didn't even have access to this budget until I printed out and provided these board packets to them. So these members of the public here, including Mr. Weckman, is able to view what the budget is because I printed out, paid for, and provided these documents for you to do that. The public has a right to have a say on how their money is spent. They have a right to understand how their money is being spent. For example, I find it quite distressing to see that we have almost $1 million in salaries for a 7-person water district. And the total budget is $1.7 million, so more than half of the budget is for salaries and benefits for a 7-person district. There's a lot of questions that I have on this thing, and I do not believe that this is a good time to be doing much more than discussing and to be setting up a workshop so that the entire public, which these folks are part of, get the opportunity to ask their questions and have it explained to them. Otherwise, we can go line item by line item because I have a question on almost every single one of these.
Anyone else?
Well, my comment is, I didn't wait till today to come in and ask my questions. I was here as soon as I knew it was in the budget to ask my questions.
Well, that's great, but the public hasn't had an opportunity to evaluate and ask their questions. It isn't whether we as board members have had the opportunity, it's whether the public has. It's a public agency. This is called transparency and accountability.
Anyone else?
Well, as we have said, this is based on either the actual spent in the previous year or budget item from the previous year. I went through this line by line, and almost every one of these numbers is what was actually spent in the previous year on that particular topic. So all we're doing is setting it up to what was actually spent. And we can, if you want, go through those, I suppose. A number of them were set up the same number that was the budgeted number from the previous year, in some cases previous years. There have been 1 or 2 on here that I asked about. I came in as well to figure out what this number means. Those were explained to my satisfaction. But for the most part, since 2017-18, we have been essentially approving these based on the previous year's expenditures. And the 2017 and 18 expenditures would have been the previous board to me, what they spent in their year. So we're sort of keeping this without increasing what's been done.
Well, that's actually not true. For example, administrative salaries and benefits, That jumped up by over $40,000. So it was $351,000 in 2018, 2019. This year, we have $391,431 in salaries.
I'm glad you brought that up, because that was the same question I brought up to Jeff.
We all brought
Yeah.
that question up. Yeah.
I got my answer from Jeff right here at the district
Well, that's
office.
wonderful, so the public gets
It
to ask their
represents
questions.
the number of people.
That's for potentially bringing on another field worker and a replacement for Heidi.
Okay,
That
so,
explains you're gonna have an overlap on your bookkeeper, okay?
oh, great, so we're gonna have an
Okay.
overlap on the bookkeeper, understood. Mhm.
And we
I got
lost
my
a few
answer
people.
from Jeff by coming in and actually bringing it to him instead of waiting till the day of the meeting to make a big hurrah in front of all your folks.
The public can ask.
This
me
is
if
about
Well,
being
I'm sorry.
transparent and accountable.
And
The
it was
public
very
has an
transparent when I went
opportunity.
in there and I got my answer.
Okay, between you and Mr. Moffitt,
Well, and
sure.
you can then talk to your
The
constituents.
reason the agenda goes out in advance is so that the public can ask questions.
Wait a minute.
Okay, I'm sorry, no one
You're right,
called on you.
you're right, I'm out of line, but I'm gonna do exactly what these people do every frickin' meeting, and you allow it. Okay?
I'm not the president of
The public can
board.
ask questions on these agendas, from the day that agenda goes out to public, just like you
I
can,
think this is
just
what
like
we
everybody
call a
else.
public, right,
Hold
an
on.
outburst.
Let's bring it in, bring it in. Let's draw it back. I was speaking in response to what you said.
And I was
And-
responding to what you were saying. Thank you.
I got my answer very clearly, and it's a
Mhm.
matter of coming in,
Mhm.
sitting down and going over this.
Okay, so in
And-
other
and my
words,
question, I guess what I would encourage you to do is do the same, and then reach out to your constituents. You guys are very tight. There's no reason you can't get information and tell your constituents. That's called transparency.
no, I'm
In
sorry.
2 days' time,
I'm
this
sorry.
came out Monday
It
night.
took me 30 minutes to get it.
Okay, excuse me, the only reason that let me reiterate, okay? The only reason the public actually has the opportunity to see this budget, first of all, it's only the people in this room, and it's because I paid to have this printed out so they could look at it right now when they picked it up. This is their money. And transparency is not about having you going individually to Mr. Maupin and having a private conversation, or you having a private conversation. That's not transparent. That is not standing up for the public and being accountable to the public. It's giving this public an opportunity, even all of you that have nasty things to say about me, giving them an opportunity to go to a workshop where this can be explained. And there are a lot of other
You don't have to
questions.
yell. We're just-
There are a lot of other
Yeah.
questions
Could you just bring it
besides, sure, and he can bring down the gavel wrapping. There are a lot of questions other than just the amounts of money on here. There are a lot of questions to what exactly is this? For example, why is Yuba City water sale actually an expense? Why does it cost us money to make money? According to the 2005 contract, none of that money goes to South Feather. So there's a question right there. I'm sure
Yes,
the
it
public would
does.
have a lot of other questions.
Yeah.
Why do we have outside services for administrative work would be another question. We have a number of questions, and my whole point is, this is also, if you want to go back to how everything is always done, this has always been done with a workshop so that the public could be involved, the public could be informed, the public could ask questions, and they could understand where their money is going. That's how it's usually done. This time, there was no warning. These people don't have access to a board packet, despite the fact that I have refused a salary, and I have specifically asked this board and this manager to print out board packets and to put up a PDF on the website. This is about transparency and accountability so that every single person, including those that hate my guts, can look at everything and figure it out for themselves. I donated my salary, I asked for that to be done, it still isn't done. These people are right now sitting here trying to read this and figure out what is this, what is that, and how much time are you gonna give? You wanna go line item by line item with these people? What about the 100 other people that aren't in this room that are paying customers? that don't have access to this because they are not able to get to the meeting.
Anyone else? Public. Start here.
I would like to know, I have only a minute, don't worry, dear. I would like to know, why bad language is used.
Friggin' is not a bad word, sorry.
I'm not English, to me it is a substitute of something unpleasant. Would you please be generous with your time to keep it civil? And also ask one of your supporters to keep it civil, just like I'm trying to do it now. Thank you.
I just actually got this too, but I agree with Dr. Flora on what she stated, but on page 2, it goes across the top month from July 2018, and it goes to June, but it should be 2019. This entry shouldn't be 19, not 2018. No? Why not?
Let's keep it to comments, please.
Okay.
Okay.
As a person who lives almost 2 hours away from here and monitors your agenda, I have become aware that you do a budget every year, and I am aware that it's at this time of year, and I'm aware that when I look at an agenda that's released to the public and it says budget, that there's probably a lot of information like this going on. So if I have questions, because I know the budget's going on and I want to run this district from the seats over here, I would definitely call the moment the agenda came out. It's accessible and it's public. That's why you have a door and a phone.
The agenda may be accessible if you come in and buy it and pay for it. It's not on a website. Really, one of the things that the Ethics Committee really suggested that all this information get put on a website for the people. The records are right. They should be available. Everything should be available to us. And I'm going to again say the people of the state do not yield their sovereignty to the agencies which serve them. The people in delegating authority do not give their public servants the right to decide what is good for the people to know and what is not good for them to know. The people insist on remaining informed so they may retain control over the instruments that they have created. And we have had budget workshops for years. Last year, I was appalled that it was so short.
Back.
The board packet is not available online as far as I can tell. It's public, or can it be put up as part of the whole public, information? Where's the board packet so the public can review it?
Yeah, I'm one of the hundreds of satisfied customers in this organization. I've had no problem at all in maintaining contact with the previous four long-term board members here, and getting answers to questions, getting answers to my questions, plus here at staff coming in and talking to them. We as the public elect directors to represent us. This organization cannot run and be functional and efficient if we have 15 or 20 people who think they're board of directors. They're the public. They have an opportunity to ask their member questions, and so we can maintain a progressive forward movement in our organization. So I thank you.
I'm sorry to note that a couple of years ago, we as a public were expressly discouraged from reaching out to any other director than our own. So at that point it was Mr. Ferguson that was difficult to reach. I have tried reaching others. It was not allowed per policy. So when I reach my director, and she can not get answers. I cannot operate according to the rules that Mr. Wetman may operate on because he knows all of you and you like him or whatever and he can talk to any of you. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yes. I have a specific comment. In late April, I submitted a public records request that asked for numerous tabulations of employees' time against different initiatives the district has been involved with, such as investigations, 2 of which against Jenny Cavalier, time on the 2015 rate hike, wanting to understand how the staff's time was applied to those. The response I got was, we do not track staff time. However, when one looks at the budget, and I've been involved with Fortune 100 company budgets, and I'm appalled that you don't have a separate section that is just for salaries and benefits instead of burying them within each little silo. How can you have siloed actual and projected numbers, but yet you are not tracking salary time? There's something that just doesn't square there. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. Need a motion to?
We have someone else in the front row.
You know, this is, it's probably not on the subject.
Yeah, I only get to talk once, so.
It's just for your information. You know, the agency gave this district $9,000 to audit South Feather, and apparently when it came back, it basically showed that South Feather overpaid us. So now that the agency has hired a water auditor to audit South Feather again, and I was at the South Feather meeting, and Rafe Mosley kindly said, make sure you guys know that the 30,000 time cards are sitting there to be picked up that you ordered. So Jeff, they're there, and they have been since May, and he's notified you several times. But they're there. They're very transparent. They said it cost them 10 cents a copy and multiple, so that's just for information. They want you to come pick up your time cards you ordered. Boxes of them.
All right. So do I have a motion to approve the budget?
Yeah, you need a motion.
Motion.
First, second.
You know, Steve.
Yeah, I make a motion to approve the budget.
Need a first and a second.
Second.
Eaton.
Opposed?
Nay, this is fiduciary irresponsibility. You should all be ashamed of yourselves.
Absolutely.
You need a roll call.
The public is outraged with this.
Shame.